What's up, everybody? Another edition here of Instagram Live. This is the real version. We had a little bit of tech issues, but we're restarting here. Today we have Granville Automatic from Nashville, Tennessee. We have Vanessa and Elizabeth. Elizabeth is going to be joining us in a little bit here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. We have an exciting interview, and today we have some good stuff. Some good stuff for you guys. So join in. How you doing out there? Pretty good? Pretty hot in upstate New York here. I think it's like 100 degrees or so today. It is it's yeah, whatever, it's there. Let's see. Take two. All right, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good.
About the same
I
since
tell you, we had a little tech issues, but we're back. We're back here.
yeah, I think we're gonna be all right. Should be
So
here
we
about
have your band. Where'd you come up with the band Granville Automatic? Because we have a town in New York called Granville.
yeah, I think I've passed it a few times. There's a Granville, I think Granville, Tennessee as well. So I think there's a Granville in the
Okay.
States. We're widespread. So
So
what do you
why
think?
Tennessee for you guys?
What? Oh, band name. Sorry, I was still on that question. Band name comes from an old typewriter. I collect typewriters, so one of the typewriters that I don't have because it's very expensive is a Granville Automatic. So yeah, that's where the name came from. Sorry, I didn't finish that answer, and I was like, wait, what's happening? Okay, so next question was why Tennessee? Um, because this is where the music is happening right now. I mean, even LA, I think, is still very much alive with music and production, and there's a lot of excitement surrounding the music community there. It's a very different community because it's mostly pop.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, Nashville started off as exclusively country, and it was that way for a very, very long time. I think up until the last, honestly, couple years, it started sort of coming up with a lot of indie pop, a lot of indie rock, a lot of really interesting sort of experimental indie bands have come out of Nashville in more recent days. And I think it's been happening for a long time. I don't think that that's been something that's like brand new. I think it's just something that people were more excited about in recent days than they have been in the past. It's always just been
Yeah.
country focused for such a long time. So now I feel like a lot of people from LA started relocating to Nashville because of the ability to purchase or rent a property for a lot less expensive at the time. Things have changed a little bit
Yeah.
since. But, for a minute, people had the right idea. They were like, I'm getting out of Dodge. I knew a ton of producers from LA that just jumped ship and moved to Nashville because it was way more affordable. And the music community is really, it's just thriving here. And it used to be exclusively country. When I first moved here, even, it was just mostly country. And I mean, I've been here about maybe 8 years or so. And I feel like every day I'm hearing more and more and more pop artists. So, and more rock artists
Okay.
and people I never would have expected to hear in Nashville. So it's really a nice thing to see the diversity sort of coming out of the woodwork and people trying new things, like they did back in the 70s. And I think that being more experimental has probably increased due to quarantine and being, kept in captivity. Captivity can make you experiment with new things, try things
Not
you never
much to
thought you'd
do. Yeah.
try out of boredom. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of really cool music is going to come out of this quarantine, just because of solitude and makes your mind work very differently. So, anyways, sorry, I just
I think
segued
there's
into
going to
like
be a lot
five
of records
questions.
to be released. Oh, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot of music to be released between now and even next year because everybody has the time. They
True.
might not have all the money to do it,
Yeah.
but I have a feeling you'll see variations. There's already been all the live stuff, been a lot of kind of like acoustic and vocal unplugged things that if somebody really, can't pay for the full production, but they know a little bit, they can go in and just mix the vocals and stuff a little bit and then, release that or whatever. So, and it was funny because, so you've been there for the past how many years so far in Tennessee?
I guess like God, I think it's been like 8 or 9 years. So Elizabeth and I met in Atlanta
Okay.
like 16 years ago. Man, maybe not that long. Maybe it's been like 15. So we decided to start a band and ended up moving here together. We rented a room in a house because hotels started getting really expensive. So I suggested, I was like, let's just find a place on Craigslist. Little did we know it was going to be like the next hot spot because she still actually lives in that house, which is crazy, over in this area of town called
Okay.
Palangi. And she bought it and she lucked out because that place is hot right now. So anyways, we found this really awesome space, moved into a room there so we could just come and go as we pleased. And that was, I guess, like 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Okay.
And we're kind of coming back and forth from Nashville to Atlanta, which was so tiring. I was so over that bullshit so quickly. It was a long drive. I was exhausted. And all I wanted to do was be creative. I didn't want to have to make the drive to do it. So we ended up getting a single that was placed into the care of Billy Currington, who is a little country star here in Nashville. And he recorded a song of
Nice.
ours called Drinking Town with a Football Problem. And we found out it was a single. It was this huge deal. Everybody was excited about it. The label heads were like, this is going straight to number one. Like, you guys are going to kill this. And it flopped. But we did get a publishing deal out of it with BMG. And that was enough ammunition to feel like we were ready to move and make the jump to a new city and to trying it full time instead of just like dancing around trying it. So
Yeah,
we took
yeah.
the leap, which was really hard to do because we've been in Atlanta for so long and moved here, ended up saying, hey, Jeremy, who was our landlord at the time, can we rent your house? Full stop. He moved to Austin. So he was like, sure, rent my house, rented it. And then after a couple years, Elizabeth ended up buying it. So it's been a journey.
Nice. Yeah, I was there 10 years ago to record my first EP, and it was everyone was like, "Why are you going to Nashville?" It's like it's just country, and
Sure.
they just started the show Nashville, so it was very big at that time. And I go, "You guys are forgetting Nashville's the birthplace of rock and roll."
It,
It's for some reason all my hard rock buddies or just people I worked with, they're all moved to Tennessee.
yep.
And it's funny that I noticed country is actually changing,
Mm-hmm.
which your music doesn't do as much, which
No,
I like that, but it's actually changing more. I don't know what you want to call it, rock, pop, country, and those metal guys are the guitarists for these country bands. So they're like, what's the reasoning for that? It's because all the rock heads move to that genre, even the
sure.
drummers. And a lot of drummers play on the same recordings, so when you listen to it, you're like, why does that sound the same?
Mm-hmm.
Same drummer, you know? But your
Yeah,
stuff
no,
is very um not traditional country, but a little bit of that and a little bit of alternative and a little bit of I don't know what you want to call it. There's like some middle ground. Maybe you
fair
can
enough.
explain that,
Like
but
what most people kind of call it, because we definitely like to have a little bit of leeway as far as genre. I don't ever want to be stuck in a box creatively. And if I'm feeling something
yeah.
that feels really, can I cuss on this? Sorry.
Uh
I'm not, I need to watch my mouth because I have a terrible mouth. So I'm just asking in case, something slips out. So anyways, what was I talking about? Now I don't even remember. Me, rewind.
the
Ah, lost it. I've lost
I'm
the
stuck on the cuss word thing. I was like, what?
anyways. Sorry, just talking. I can't even remember what I was saying.
Yeah. I don't know. We were going somewhere with it, but
Well, Elizabeth
anyways,
will be here very soon, so I'm hoping Me.
Okay. What's going on out there, everybody joining in? Thanks very much. Feel free, everyone looking in afterwards. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to tag us too in the comments. I'm sure they'll get back to you. I'll definitely get back to you. And this will be on a bunch of different platforms and stuff afterwards.
You know what?
Usually I'm streaming live on something else too, but it's just this for right now.
I may have to request you from Granville and switch it to the Granville account because we're supposed to be on the Granville account right now. I didn't think about that, but we're just on mine. So let me see. How do I do that? I need to go here.
Um,
I didn't think.
I'll just remove you from the room and then you start there.
Yes, perfect. Okay, do that. Bye.
All right.
I'll get right back in just a second. Okay, here we go. Now.
She'll be back. We're still rolling. So we're gonna have Elizabeth and Vanessa in the room together. Country rock alternative band. What's going on, Sherry? How you doing out there? We have a bunch of American Idol people too this month. We have a lot of cool guests coming up soon. So whether you're listening now or later, thank you very much. This started out kind of as a whim, and it's been very cool interviewing all this different talent here. So I'm gonna get a request from their band page, and we will rock and roll. There we go. So how's everybody doing? If you got questions, definitely put them in the chat. What's going on, Sherry?
Okay, I think
there we go. She's back.
We finally got it figured out, maybe now. So hopefully, when Elizabeth gets here, then we'll be a rolling.
Sounds good.
Well,
what's going on, Andrea?
Any questions? Oh, there she is. Speak of the devil. You want to go outside? Okay, we're going outside.
Just in time.
The cove. Got to be careful with the Rona. Hold on. We're going all the way outside. She's upstairs.
There she is.
There she is, Miss America. All right,
where do you want to set it?
Let's just set it. You can just come here. Sorry, this was Amy earlier.
Where are you?
Do you guys live out in the country there? Or?
No, it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? This is my casa, but that's the Nashville skyline.
Wow.
It's
nice
just
view.
It's a weird piece of property, but anyways. Oh, okay.
Here we are.
All right.
We're here in the same place.
Hi, I'm just gonna hold it like this because now.
Hello, everybody.
We can chill. Yeah.
Now we truly have Granville here.
That's
Not
right.
New York, but Tennessee.
Tennessee.
So Elizabeth, she was explaining the story that you guys, how you found a place and stuff in Tennessee and all that, and so you ended up buying the whole house because you liked it there that much?
Well, it was almost an opportunity that couldn't be missed at the time, and bless that guy's heart. He's awesome. We love him. Shout out to me.
Yeah.
He called us with a month, and it's like, hey, I'm selling the house, and we were in the middle of rehearsing for a PBS show and going back and forth, and I said, hey, give me a little time. Let me see if I can figure something out. Because at the time, I still had a regular job, the good old days of regular income, and was able, very fortunately at the time, before that neighborhood really took off, was able to get the house. But we rented it. We rented the whole house for 2 years.
Yeah, we did. It was a really long rental period. Very expensive rental period.
But yeah, it was fortunate. It was great. We were coming here so much. It was awesome. Craigslist paid off
it did
in awesome ways on this one. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what? Let's go into a little bit of the musical background here. What are your influences out there between the two of you, and how do they cross?
So I'm a little bit country and she's a little bit rock and roll. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. I listen to a lot of, I guess what people would consider indie pop, or indie rock. I like a lot of old school stuff. I love Graham Parsons. I think we have that in common. Emmylou Harris. I love, classic country artists like Merle Haggard. And we just wrote a whole book about country history, so we gotta like the historical stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't think our musical tastes aren't that different. I don't think
they're
they cross in a lot of the same paths, and I think we, more than genre, we love great songs. So I think we have some of the same favorite artists, and my taste may lean more heavy rock sometimes than hers, and hers may lean a little bit more pop and true country at times. But I think we both like the same sonically, which is important. And I think the mix of where we're both coming from, Vanessa's so melodic, and I can be kind of atonal sometimes. And I think we come from loving the same kind of craft. I think just loving great songs of all genres.
I think it makes a better mix, because sometimes, I don't know, it's like you take two heavy metalhead guys and you throw them into something, and it's almost like too much that genre in certain ways. So you want some people that have different backgrounds, even if, like you said, you're more rock and roll, or maybe the drummer has a jazz background, but he loves rock too. I mean, that's going to change things a lot. So I was watching the thing on, I think you were on Dido Music or something live, and you had a violin player and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Diddy TV.
Diddy.
We took our band over to play, and we have the girl Lucy played with us then, is an incredible player, plays with us sometime. And then we have a longtime fiddle player who's been in it since album 1, and her name's Bethany, and she actually co-wrote a song with us on the new album. And she plays fiddle, mandolin, and sings a lot of the killer harmonies with Vanessa. So yeah, that's been. It's weird. Coming from rock, I didn't really care that much for the violin until I heard Bethany play, and then I was sold on it. So
yeah, and she sings like a little baby angel.
That's true.
So she's got those wicked high harmonies.
Super cool high
harmony. Yeah, she's great at the high harms.
And I come from singing lead in a rock, so I'm like. For harmony, for me, it's octaves and counter melodies. I'm a terrible harmony singer, so.
You're not great.
Yeah, I feel you there.
I've been singing lead too long.
Yeah.
I'm no good at harmonies. I'm like, where's the octave in that?
Yeah, the octave is great. I can yell in the background. That always sounds cool.
I love singing harmony. I'm opposite, so.
Harmony genius.
I literally, like, any song on the radio, I'm never singing the lead. I'm always singing the harmony.
And Vanessa arranged records, all the harmony parts. She can, you can tell her to do 4 different harmony parts, and she'll immediately do, this, and this. She does a lot with our country demos. And people get.
That's my favorite part, actually, is really taking the time to dig in and compose all of the harmonies and figure out what parts I want where. And
it's freakish.
I love it so much. I hear it all in my head like a symphony. Like I can hear all of the pieces in my head when I think about it together. But I love arranging those kinds of things. I love it. She calls me an idiot savant all the time. I guess it's kind of true.
Well,
so you don't play the guitar or anything, right? But you can hear all those instruments and kind of be like, this is what needs to go where.
I play a little bit of everything. I'm like let's see, how do you say jack of all trades, master of none? That's basically what I am. So I can play like a rough guitar.
Well, you got the master vocal.
I mean, I guess there's that. I'm all right at the singing, but I can play like a little bit of mandolin, a little bit of guitar, probably mostly piano. I'm all right at piano.
She's forgetting her main instrument though.
What?
Drums.
Oh, and I play drums.
Yeah.
But that's not to me, that's not melodic necessarily. Yeah, melodic necessarily.
Yeah.
She plays drums. When we tour as a duo, like as an opening act, she has a small drum kit she plays, so it's like the Carpenters kind of.
I love playing drums, and learning to play drums really gave me a better rhythmic sensibility. I learned to sort of use the Hall & Oates tactic of placing a backbeat and letting my mind run wild with melody instead of thinking in terms of, oh, well, what's the chord structure? It gives you freedom to sing whatever the hell you want. You don't have any confines of any kind. So it's playing the confines of the melody. Listen, I need you to stop giving me shit today. So you were one.
I always tell everybody that.
I had to drive in rush hour to you.
I tell all the singers and stuff, like the ones that are just starting out or whatever, that I go, even if you just learn a kick drum beat or something, like your sense of timing with singing helps your singing. And they don't really get that at first, but it's very, very important. Especially saying I can sing without the guitar, but I'm very much a guitar player singer, and you you could probably relate to that. And it's like some of the things, it just feels awkward about the guitar, and you're like, what am I doing?
I want to be like Barbara Mandrell and play like the pedal steel, something super weird and badass. Like, or
Yep.
auto harp. Well, auto harp is pretty easy. I want to be like the master of the saw, like something just so out of the ordinary that nobody else knows how to play, and then everyone will hire me, or no one will hire me. Probably no one for a saw, but.
Although that guy count that plays.
I'll play. You can hire me to play the shaker. I'm the shaker guy. That's what I tell everybody. I'll play the shaker.
Shaker's great. You know what? Pick up them drums. My my drum kit is basically like a suitcase, and then I have a small pickle. It's basically a piccolo snare, and then a ride and a crash stack that's just like sits on my left hand side. And I play standing, so I can't have a hi hat. But if I use my crash and my ride and kind of like just go between them, ding, 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 it creates sort of that backbeat, like a disco backbeat, if I need it, which when do I ever need it?
I mean, but either way, that small kit will fill like theaters and even some pretty big like symphony halls.
Sound men across the country have been blown away at the sound of my weird-ass kick drum. It's so weird. It sounds great. With the right mic, it sounds amazing.
It probably has an overtone that fills it.
Yeah.
Probably what it is.
It's really
and what it's made out of too. I'm very much
like,
into the sound of things with like mixing and recording, so I'm always interested in that. One question I had was what microphone did you use on most of your recordings? Do you know what style or year?
Exact microphone with the serial number, because she was like, "Damn, Vanessa, your vocals sound like butter."
Hey, I stole your mic, by the way, for my rock record, just so you know.
Did you? Oh, you use it?
I use the same mic.
It's a great
your
mic.
Your voice sounds better on it than mine, but so it is.
It's annoying.
It's a Telefunken.
Oh well, yeah.
U47.
It's a Telefunken, which is.
It's got a serial number under 550, so it's one of the. I'm sure it's a 6-figure microphone. It was from Blackbird. But,
yeah, it's an insanely beautiful.
I mean, the U87
microphone.
That's the deal anyway. The U47 or U87, I think.
I like the 47 slightly better.
I may have done one on an SM6 one time, but I think everything's been a Neumann or a Telefunken.
Yeah.
Although, I've tried like the blue bottle mics and all that stuff. It just never. I have a super woofy voice, so.
Woof!
It's very woofy. But your voice sounded the best on that mic of any mic.
Yeah, I have a really weird voice. I have a lot of mid-range in my voice, and a lot of audio engineers have a difficult time figuring out what the hell mic to use on it, because it's very weird.
To be fair, shout out to Chris.
Yeah.
That mixes it. Really
Chris he's the shit. He's so great at what he does. Love you, Chris.
Is that the main studio you guys like to go to, Blackbird?
We've recorded, ironically, because we do these concept records, we've made albums in different places. Our first record we made at Station House Studio in Los Angeles, which is where like Elkins does a lot of stuff, and then we did one at it's not there any longer, but Saltland Studio in Brooklyn.
Oh, I love Saltland. Saltland has a cool vibe.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
But we tracked it.
Sadly,
we tracked the drums at Mission in Williamsburg. You were like ADD with the.
I'm sorry, I wanted a pillow behind my back. All right.
Making me dizzy here.
No. You're gonna alienate the viewers.
Sorry.
But here in Nashville, we've used Curve recording, and we've used Loud at Curve, and then Blackbird. This was our first opportunity to use Blackbird. We worked with the Blackbird Academy, which is a student academy there. Otherwise, they would go away to.
No way we would afford it. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity and experience, and it's fantastic.
But yeah, the folks that run that program, and Mark Rubel, who's one of the head engineers there, and the students were just so much fun and incredible chance to use that room. So we were just very fortunate.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, it's where it's like I heard it's the best drum room ever.
Oh.
I've heard some of the rock guys and stuff, that's their favorite spot. Little story with my second EP, one of my producers was in there, and he goes, "Frank, we're going to sneak in, okay? We're going to record the rhythm guitar part in a place called Blackbird Studios." He goes, "You got to check this out." He goes, "I'm telling you, it's going to be the best recorded electric guitar you ever heard." And I got it back, and I was like, "How did you get that sound, man?" He goes, "That's the studio right there."
Yeah.
I was like, all right. heard a lot of good things.
It's incredible. And Studio D, I believe, which is the really big space, we tracked our drums in A, I think, which is smaller. But the big rock sound in D is ridiculous.
It's yeah.
And it's just sort of is. It's like some studio. Vanessa and I did some studio sessions for PBS. And the second you play your guitar in that tiny room, it's like, 30 by 30. It's not a very big room, but there's something special just in that space. So I think those are just magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Magical.
So you guys have a single releasing tomorrow too. I want to get that in here.
We do. We do have a single that's being released tomorrow. It's called Monsters in the Stars. We're really, really excited about it. I think it's going to be...
Yeah, it's the second single from Tiny Televisions, which is our new album that comes out September 11th. And Monsters in the Stars is, a lot of our songs are inspired by tales from history. And this new record was inspired by writing our book, The Hidden History of Music Row. And this song is actually about the Trail of Tears, which I think people don't talk about too much. And, we have a lot of discussion about history going on in America right now. And I think history of Native Americans has not really been discussed as much as it could be. And this is from the perspective of someone who is on the Trail of Tears, leaving their home in Tennessee and headed to Oklahoma. So it's one of my favorite Vanessa vocals, honestly. I think she just really nailed it.
Which is very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah.
We wrote it with a guy named Tom Douglas, who wrote The House That Built Me by Miranda Lambert.
And Little Rock.
And Little Rock, which
okay.
is a great song. He's written like everything by Lady Antebellum, and any hit you can think of is probably Tom Douglas. So we were fortunate enough to write with him one time, and it will maybe never happen again. I don't know.
We'll never know. It's weird for us, Frank, because we don't traditionally, Vanessa and I don't, we share credit on all the songs, but normally we sort of throw ideas back and forth to each other. Hey, I have this chorus, I have this bridge, I have this idea. We kind of finish each other's thoughts, but we rarely sit down together to write. So when we're writing with a third person, they're subjected to our dynamic as well. Which, some people are like, yeah, it's not for me, and some people really like it. So it depends. But this one.
Yeah, some people want to get together and just hash it out all at once. I've always kind of been, send me your ideas and I'll kind of work on it and get back to you, and then you work on it some more, and then you send back more, and it's more for me like a back and forth thing.
Totally.
I think sometimes it's a little better. I think maybe it's maybe a little too quick if you hash it out, everything in one room in like one day, and you're like, there's the song and there's the parts. You can think about it a little bit,
Totally. Yeah.
Late at night, you get an idea. Whoa,
Mm-hmm.
I think two of the songs on this new record we have, a song called Ice Cream and a song called Hell's Half Acre. Those were songs that were probably started on 2 or 3 years ago that had little bits and pieces that kind of finally came together. So we always keep those in the back of our mind, and sometimes it takes a while for the song to show up when it's supposed to.
So what was the name? The Tiny Televisions. Where'd you get that? Because that's very interesting.
It's a cool story. It's a weird story. Oh, sorry.
Camera operator Vanessa here.
Sorry, I'm watching him, not me. So it gets.
So yeah, when we were doing the book, I had a chapter on a building on Music Row that was Sony Music for a long time. Before that, it was an old folks' home, and before that, it was a Catholic nuns' home for the aged. And I talked to the developer, a guy named Steve, and he was the one that took it from being a retirement home to Sony Music, BMG. I think it was BMG first. And when he walked in, and this was in probably the early 90s, when he originally walked in, he saw what had been going on there for like 30 years. And it was he basically said it was a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He walked into the chapel, and he saw all these old folks sitting on the floor, sitting on chairs, and they were all staring at tiny televisions on the floor. And most of them, were either had Alzheimer's or were sad or were troubled. And he said it was very bad. And it sort of gave him the impetus to say, I think that developing this building and saving this building is actually going to save the situation that's going on. So I wrote that idea down, and we got together with a guy who plays keys with us sometimes named Matt Nolan, who's incredible. And I said, here's the story. How do you see this happening? And I think it may be my favorite Granville song of all time. And it is basically from the perspective of someone sitting there watching that television. And we set it in the 1960s. The early 60s. And we actually have an animated video a guy named Justin Nixon has done the coolest animated video.
It is creepy.
It will be out
Nice.
in early September, closer to the album release date. But it's almost more of a rock song than it is country or alt country. But I don't know, Vanessa. For me, it's one of the favorite ones we've ever done of our.
Yeah, certainly. And even like the guy we wrote it with, Matt Nolan, who we were just talking about, he's an incredibly gifted guy, and he said it's probably the weirdest song lyrically he's ever written. I really enjoy it though. I think probably that's my favorite. I think Hell's Half Acre is really growing on me, and it's becoming my new second favorite, if not a tie for first.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That was my one notion when I heard that title. I was like, because I remember those small televisions, and I do remember just from old horror movies and things of a lot of the insane or the old folk stuff sitting, and there's like one small TV like here,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like the one with the rabbit ears and stuff, and I was like, that was one of the first things that popped in my head, but I'm like, I don't know, it could be about anything, you know?
You were on the right path.
Yeah, you were definitely on the right path.
Yeah, I like that. So everybody tuning in right now, everybody tuning in later, thank you very much. They have an album coming out. Was it September? What was the date? 11th. September 11th. Is that on purpose?
No, it was not. It was.
It was just the best date
It was just
to pick, and it seemed in the timeline like the correct.
Yeah,
date
since
to
we
pick.
were timing it with the book coming out, and the book publisher picked the date, so
Yeah.
books come out on
Okay.
Monday, so we were kind of left with either Labor Day Friday or the following, which happened to be September 11th. So.
Yeah, and Labor Day.
Yeah, you never want to do Labor Day.
Sick. Nobody's focused on it, so it's better to wait and wait till you have everybody's full attention.
Not that anyone's focused at all. Right
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So what's your approach to recording? Do you, I'm kind of a gear guy and all that. Do you, for acoustic, what's your go-to acoustics and kind of your way of recording it? Like rock, we do a lot of doubling. Sometimes there's tripling. There's almost the way you record it dictates the song in a lot of ways. One guitar part turns into kind of like three that's pieced together into one part, if that makes sense.
Sure, and I come from making rock records where everything was doubled, tripled, quadrupled, pan left, pan right, playing off each other. So I come from the world of doubling too. And in fact, I only own one acoustic guitar, so it's I own about 10 electrics. But I don't think I've played electric on any Granville albums. But my go-to acoustic is a jumbo Gibson J200. I've worked with Gibson for about 10 years, and that's just my favorite guitar. The times I've played on it's usually just, honestly, this has been weird for me because I'm like you. Why aren't we tracking 4 versions of everything to make things huge? But yeah, it's often just a single acoustic track on almost all of our records. I think even with electric in country, I don't hear them doubling it that much.
No.
And weirdly, I come from where you double a vocal all the time, and you don't even double a vocal in country. So it's very different, and I think I had to adjust to that with making country music.
Some country, like Jason Aldean, those big choruses are doubled for sure.
The vocals?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's the most
Yeah, a lot of the radio country, their voices are wicked altered and stuff. And that's what I was going to say. With yours, your voice is not altered, which I like.
Honestly,
I like more
that started
regular.
Accident because and I've never tuned my vocals from that point on. So what ended up happening is we made an entire record in Nashville that just kind of didn't work out, wasn't the right sound that we wanted. Met a guy named Ted Russell Camp, who's this amazing producer, singer, songwriter, bass player, guitar player. He plays everything. Out in California, LA. And so we met him, and we just loved him so much and his vibe, and we ended up going and playing this little open jam with him and his friends, and it sounded so amazing, just them learning the songs on the spot, that we said, why don't we make a record with Ted? So we went out to Cali, started making this record, and literally I was singing all of the vocals, like scratch vocals, in the control room, and I had the music blasting, and I feel it the best as far as just like a regular scratch vocal we weren't planning on using. Well,
Yeah, you know,
it
headphones,
turned
right?
out really good. And so Elizabeth, I was trying to re-sing the vocal and get a final cut of something, and it just didn't have the same feel. And it's very different singing with a live band, so it makes sense. So we decided to use all of the vocals that I recorded in the control room, and we couldn't do any edits. We couldn't auto tune, pitch, correct anything because of the volume in the background.
So I think most of this
Yeah.
most of this on this record and Radio Hymns, our previous record, Vanessa sang live. A lot of them are first takes. It's just kind of the way she operates best. I kind of agree. You know, I've been in studio situations where I've been cutting vocals till 4 a.m., like take 20, and by that time it's just diminishing returns. I think you get magic in the first few takes, and she's such a gifted singer emotionally and technically that I think her instincts and playing with the band and going off feel of the band when they're cutting the main track has been consistently the way we've done things for Granville. So
Yeah. I think tracking with the band, you can do it faster. Where, you know, flying in stuff, it's harder because the feel's not there. Focusing on each line or something or word sometimes, you know.
I've done it that way.
I do that now. I'm in that world, and I'm like, 'cause I have no other choice. You know, I get the drums, I'll track everything, but for me, it's you know, I don't get to practice it with a band, and I play all the instruments a lot of times, so it's like, what are you gonna do? But I feel that sometimes where I'm like, how come just like, even if I were to play it now, it feels so much more, you know, I'm singing more on pitch and all that kind of stuff. It's a weird, it's just a live thing. I think a lot of the true performers and stuff know, you know, what I'm talking about. It's that magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. There's something about tracking vocals. I went to a Grammy event about vocal engineering, and the artist, I think it was Lauren Daigle, who was talking about how she's just, you know, the headphones need to be right, and she wants it to be live, and for her, she needs to sing after 6 o'clock at night, and when that's all right, the magic can happen. So I think everyone does it a little differently, but for Vanessa, it works perfectly this way. And I think her, you know, this record, her vocals are just crazy good. I mean, I think.
Well, that's nice. Thank you, ma'am. I always listen to it and hear what I could have done differently. That's just like habit. So I never listen to it and go, oh man, I'm totally happy with that, and everything about it is perfect. I go, I wish I would have sung that slightly differently, or I wish I would have attacked that note a little less, or, you know. So it's literally just me trying to make it better constantly, even though I never can. So
It's the singer syndrome, as I call it. We all go through it. It's like, I don't know. And then you listen to it like 7 years from now, and you're like, once you forget about all of it, and you're like, yeah, that sounds fine to me. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, see, I'm the opposite. I listen back to my first rock records, and I'm like, God, someone should have told me this was not good.
Okay.
You live, you learn. And singing backup country and singing around Vanessa for 5 or 6 years now has made me a singer that supports vocally better, and my pitch is better. I think I've learned to be a better singer over that. But yeah, I feel fortunate to be in a band with someone that can sing like she can, because I'm always learning something too.
Yes, we are very hard on ourselves. That's very, very true. Somebody was commenting. It must be really.
So I call her something Daughtry. She's a huge Chris Daughtry fan.
Oh, that's
a few
awesome.
of them tune in for there. And
yeah, he's great.
yeah, if you guys got questions, folks, put them in right now. We got a few more minutes before Elizabeth's got to go, and then
I gotta jump off.
they'll answer.
So.
Yeah,
Or just tag us later, and we'll go through.
Absolutely, yeah. I got like most musicians, I got the part-time job, which I'm very thankful for during this time period, especially. But
totally, we all have to find things that we have to do. You know, for me, it's like teaching, and for pet sitting.
Yep.
I mean, anything I can do, literally.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. And Elkins, kind of the same thing. I mean, everybody's just got to try to hustle. Oh, thanks. Well, we love being here for this interview.
Yeah, Frank, you're awesome. Thank you for inviting us.
I'm looking at.
No problem. You guys are cool. I haven't had one where once in a while I get a little bit worried because I don't know the person. Like I've never talked to them, and I'm like, what if they get on and they're really dry and they're really like almost like I don't want to do that interview type thing. But luckily everybody's really easygoing, and I tell everyone it's not really an interview; it's a sit down chat. We're just here as musicians to musicians with everything else going on, and getting the stories out there. It'd be the same thing if I was there chatting with you guys live.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm going to jump off. I can't thank you enough for doing this. And like I said,
Yeah.
people check out Monsters in the Stars, which is coming out tomorrow. It's on all
Tomorrow.
the digital services. And then if you're into history, The Hidden History of Music Row, which is our book, comes out
September or August 31st. Sorry.
Hey, it's got lots of, it's
I'm
got
thinking
murder,
record.
it's got cheating, it's got ghosts, it's got Willie Nelson, it's got Elvis Presley, it's got everything. So, Frank,
There you go.
thank you. I'm going to drive back over to the other part of town, across the river here. So, all right, take care.
All right.
All right, bye.
All right.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Peace.
If I ever need any acoustic stuff, I'll hit you up.
Do it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, dude.
So now we're left with Vanessa.
Yeah.
Just the grand out of the Ville. The Ville left. Now we just got the grand.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry.
So, what made you want to do a duo versus like being a single or different, or maybe even a band? Like something a little different.
I mean, I've always been somebody that enjoys collaboration. I think going at it alone is something that a lot of people enjoy for the sake of, you have a lot of flexibility. You can do whatever you want when it's your project. And I can totally understand that and get behind that. It's just not for me. I really prefer collaboration. I am not a skilled guitarist of any kind, so I just don't really think I could learn to play guitar now, but I feel like there are people that do that better than I do. So I would really rather have somebody who is really skilled at their craft to collaborate with. It just makes sense to me. I've always enjoyed being in a band. I don't think I've really ever had, well, I've had a couple little things I've released under my name, but really there's not much out there. So.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up a little bit. Is I actually remember you on American Idol because I watched all the way to I don't know, certain seasons, maybe I don't know what they went up to, number 18 or something like that. But I do remember you on there, and I was like, I don't think the music you're doing now was similar to the TV show, which people understand it's a TV show. You do all different styles of music, and you're trying out things and stuff. But was that some of the solo stuff that you were like, it's not really my style, but you were on the show, so you had to kind of.
I mean, when you're on the show, it's a little bit different. I feel like it's. I don't know. You're definitely steered in a direction. They want you to be more pop or more country or whatever the week is, that week. But I think coming out of that, I didn't really have a clear idea of what kind of music I wanted to do. I think I've always really loved country music, but that wasn't my first go-to. The first thing I ever did was like a kind of, I guess, like pop folk album, kind of like a singer-songwriter thing. And I think, let's see, the second thing I came out with was more like R&B, hip hop kind of stuff, which I've written a lot of. I mean, I think the hip hop scene at one point, and I mean, I guess it still is, was really thriving in Atlanta when I was starting to write songs. So that's kind of where I started, was in R&B and hip hop. And I loved it. And I still, to this day, really love writing in that style. Being able to top line in that style is really fun. So yeah, I don't know.
What that's good though. I mean, it's good different styles and to try different things.
Yeah.
What
I love being versatile.
I was gonna say, what advice would you give, I guess, kids nowadays that want to try out for those shows? Would you say yes, go for it, or would you say no? I have my opinion about it.
Man, it's a tough question to answer because I feel like it has its perks. Certainly there's a reason that those kinds of shows exist. A, they're entertaining. B, it's a quick way to success. And I think that that is true to a degree, but it's also a misconception because you still have to work for it. And in some ways, it sort of puts this black streak on your back that makes people look and go, oh, well, she was an Idol contestant. And now it's almost like The Voice kind of does the same thing, or, oh, well, she was a Voice contestant. Do we really want to say it's, and I don't know why there's this negative association with it. You know, it's just people getting up there and being their truest self and just freaking killing it on the vocals. I mean, my friend Sarah Potenza was on The Voice.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory in that. Do you want to hear the theory? Is because it's all songs.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
There's no originals in there.
Yeah.
I've sent a few auditions to The Voice in some of those shows, and I've gotten callbacks from the producers. But my auditions, I did one original and I did one cover song, which was completely different. But I never made it to a taping or anything. But this is another thing too, is that kids go on there, they have no history. They have no music out there. They've never played in a band. I would say wait for that. You know, wait till you have some ground on you, a couple of years of, you know, an album or a couple singles, and you've opened for a couple artists. Have that aspect, so that way you have ground to stand on, so you're kind of who you are a little bit already, rather than, you know, I have nothing, I'm just a TV show, you know, kind of, you know what I mean? There's nothing before that. I think it's so much harder for the kids nowadays.
It really is. And even back then, honestly, it was hard. You know, I think people think that, you know, all of the contestants leave Idol and, you know, they have all this multitude of opportunities and, you know, get all these opportunities to make money. And it was not like that. I was struggling for a very long time after Idol. You know, I picked up any job I could. And, you know, even still, music is unfortunately the path of most resistance. and if you're going to do it, you have to be prepared to not get to do what you want to do all the time. And you have to be prepared to make sacrifices and work your tail off. I mean, it took me forever to get away from the Idol stigma and, you know, having people just associate me with a good voice instead of associating me with also being a songwriter. I had to really try very, very hard to get people to understand that I also wrote songs and always have. So, you know, even up until a few years ago, old friends of mine would be like, what, you're a songwriter? I didn't know that. And I think maybe, like you said, there's an association with contestants maybe not being professional musicians. They just have a great voice and they can't necessarily write a good song, but that's not true. It's just simply not true.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, in general, if you have that kind of talent and that kind of musicality, I mean, that's going to come through either way.
Yeah. I still think, I don't understand why they can't come out.
Songs or have a good grasp on how to. So.
Yeah. I don't understand why they can't come out with a show that's just all originals, maybe a couple covers, but that shows who really people are. Because I think it would open up a lot of people as far as to say that, you know, it's not all bells and whistles, you know, because a lot of the original stuff, it's tough.
There's some questions on here that I saw. I saw somebody say they love my earrings, and I did like this, but that was like a thank you. I probably just looked.
Did you get a song in like a TV show or something? Or I heard something where you got a song somewhere, like a movie or TV show or commercial.
I mean, there was a song in The Ranch, but with Ashton Kutcher, that Netflix show. Is it called The Ranch? I think it's called The Ranch. But that was Drinking Town with a Football Problem, which was the single that we had with Billy Currington. So that may have been what we were talking about. We had another one of our songs called Comanche, but I can't remember what show that was on. It was like maybe a year ago, though. So yeah, I mean, let me see.
I just listened to that one because I swore I've seen like the photo or something come up on one of these things, and I'm like, it's got to be in a TV show or movie. I remember.
It's placement stuff is so awesome. If you can get a placement, then sometimes you can make really great money. Let's see. Okay,
Yeah.
there's another question. Are you Native American? What tribe? I'm not Native American. Does anybody want to guess what I am? I
I
don't
don't. I
know. I
learned
don't know
not
if
to
there will be
guess.
any guesses, but we
I
can
just asked.
try. Everybody always, I guess, assumes that I am of the Asian persuasion, but I'm not. I'm Mexican. So there's your
Really?
answer. Yeah. So I guess roundabout. I guess in a roundabout way, I am sort of native. Okay. What inspires you when you write a song? Oh gosh. A bevy of different things. I think inspiration comes from all walks of life. I think for a while, sorry, my neighbor's doing yard work. I think inspiration can come from
What is
lots of
that?
different things. There's been this sort of idea, I think, that quarantine was going to make everything seem like it was this vacuum succubus for creativity where nobody was going to feel
Yeah.
creative. And I think for a while I thought that I wouldn't be able to, having no outside stimuli, just being kind of trapped in here all the time. But I've managed to find it lately. I have another project. Elkins and I both have little other separate projects too. So we don't have to spend so much time with each other. But different things inspire me in that band and in that project then inspire me in this project. Typically with this, the reason I like this band so much is because we have to think about songwriting in a very different way and think about it more in terms of like storytelling. Back in the old
Okay.
days when people used to write these beautiful story songs like Battle of New Orleans and songs like that that really kind of told a story and sometimes a story of significant historical value. I feel like it
Yeah.
was
Yep.
sort of our job to take over that spot and sort of preserve history through song. Also, maybe teach somebody something they might not have otherwise looked up or looked into and discovered if it weren't for our music. So I really love that we have to look at songwriting from this very different perspective. It's not typically songs about love. It's typically songs about some kind of historical event, but we try to make it relatable in terms of, well, how do we kind of loop this into something else thematically where people can feel like they can relate to it?
Yeah, because I know a lot of stuff. There's like no choruses. There
Sure,
might be, but it's not like today where everything you got to have a hook and you got to have
sure.
this, and it's more of to me like Johnny Cash was like one of the last guys to do that, especially when he played live. He would just kind of go into it's almost like a rant thing, when he was playing in those prison stuff,
Yeah,
and it was story. A lot of it he was just making it up right there because he was
exactly. And it
talking
doesn't have
about
to be
the
true
warden and
for
everything
it to be a
else.
story. And we do take a lot of creative license in our songs. Not every single bit of information in our lyric is accurate. And people have called us
Yeah.
out on it before, but to me, you have to be able to stray away from the truth a little bit. We always try to stay mostly true to it, but sometimes a word sings better, place name or
Yeah.
something,
Yep.
and maybe it's near the place, but it's not exactly the place. So we do try to be loose like that. And most of these Granville songs we don't actually write together, like Elkin said earlier. It's usually separately, and then we kind of come together and we edit each other's work, is basically what it is. And I enjoy that process
Yeah. Yep.
very, very much because it gives us each our own space to be creative in our own way. Um, and, but with my other project, we write pretty much everything together. Occasionally, she will send me stuff and then I'll finish it. But most of the time, we're like in the room together. When Elizabeth and I write songs for other people, that's a very different story. We are usually in the same room with a third person, and the inspiration comes from a big old fat title list that I have on my phone. It comes from somebody could just say
This is
some random
thesaurus.
ass thing,
Got to use
and
those.
I will look at them dead in the eye and pretend like I'm listening to their conversation, but I'm thinking about what they just said, and I'm thinking about writing it in my phone so I can keep it in the memory book for a song for later. So you got to be careful if you
See,
have songwriting friends, because they're going to take
I'm old
shit
school. I
if
got to
you
use
the songs.
notebooks. I cannot write in phones and stuff. It's all
Uh-huh.
notebooks, paper, and then I'll transfer it to like computer, and then I'll work on it. To
Yeah,
me,
well,
it's
they
just
have
too
that
small, too
notable.
confusing.
They have that notable notepad now, which is very appealing to me, because I
Okay.
really do like to write. And it's like kind of a tablet, but you use a stylus the whole time, and it feels like writing on paper. It's supposed to be
Okay.
great. Yeah, I've never
Nice.
used one, but I've heard great things about them. So if you like to write, then you can transfer it, and it'll like put it into text for you, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's really
I
cool.
have really bad
Mm-hmm.
handwriting, so you know, you never know. It'll come up really. Well, they're like, "What is this word?"
Yeah,
Oh,
it may not read correctly. Awesome.
yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. You know, this is
Yeah, of
something.
course.
This is like I'm having almost like an idle month, and it's not like
Oh,
planned or anything
fun.
like that. But I have other
Aw.
guys from the same show that you were on, which is pretty cool. But yeah, anybody out there, you know, tuning in, whether you're indie or wherever, you know, just send me your stuff and I'll listen to it. And I've interviewed bands that live down the road here, so it's just, you know, it's I like a variation, you know, stuff like that. Hey, what's going
A
on? I know him. What's going
variation.
on?
Uh-huh.
Variations. Because we're all musicians, you know, even the same, like the big bands, Nickelback, what, you know, those Bon Jovis in the world, I call them. You know, they're still
The Bon
musicians.
Jovis of the world. There can only be
There can only be one.
Yeah, there can only be one Bon Jovi. One true Bon Jovi.
True. I'm more of a Def Leppard fan than Bon Jovi.
I like Def Leppard, but I don't know. Bon
Yeah.
Jovi's so freaking talented. That's where it's at.
He is. He is. He's a pretty good actor too.
No,
Pretty
he's
good.
not bad. Well, dude, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope we get to do it again soon.
Definitely. Good luck with your song release and your album release. Let me know when the video comes out. I'll share that. And
Okay,
then
sounds
anybody
great.
tuning in, if you want to tag Vanessa or the band or me or whatever in the comments after this uploads, we'll get back to you, okay?
Yeah,
Sound good? All right, I'll send you all the links once it releases on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else.
sweet.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Peace
guys.
out,
I
guys.
appreciate it very much.
Oh, I appreciate it
Keep
too. This was really
rocking.
fun.
I'll keep in touch, all right?
Okay, sounds good. All right,
All
bye
right,
now.
see you guys later. Bye.